Hola a todos y bienvenidos a Midnight's Edge Español. Polly está de vacaciones, así que hoy cumpliré mis deberes de anfitrión. Conmigo para ayudar, como siempre, Diego.
Hola a todos, ¿qué tal?
Y Pablo.
¿Cómo estamos, gente?
Y Mike, el Iron Man mexicano. ¿Qué tal?
Completamente excelente, señor.
Qué bueno. And with that, that's the pre-prepared Spanish that I had for today.
Andre, I got to tell you, I've been a fan of Midnight's Edge for over 2 years. As you know, if someone ever would have told me I would be on screen with you on YouTube on a Spanish Midnight's Edge, I'd be like, get the heck out of here. This is the greatest day of my life. So far this year.
Me alegro. Well, that is awesome. But yeah, no, Polly is on vacation. So it will be me that helps out with hosting duties for today. But I'm of course helped by this great team of Pablo, Diego, and Mike. So we'll be hosting the show today together. And if you could all hit like and help us share the stream, that would be of huge help and much appreciated. Let's see who we have here. We have Stephen Otten is here, and he says hello everyone. And we have Golgo13 is in the chat, and he's struggling with the autocorrect. We have the 70s rock fan here. We have Krusty Moko is here. Elijah Snow says, hola todos. And Carolina Ramos Fabian says, what a beautiful Spanish. Oh, muchas gracias. Yo probar. I may not be perfect, but I am trying at least a little bit. And that's also what we say. If you don't speak Spanish, that's not a huge issue because neither do I. So hope you've done well. And we also have Samurai Motoko here, bienvenidos, and Mario Morales. So yeah, please hit like and share that stream. Diego, ¿qué tal?
Todo bien. Everything's perfect, thank God. Just enjoying the summer in Denver.
Muy bien. And Pablo, how about you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Quito, Ecuador is crazy as always, so what can I say?
Excellent. And we have a great show for you today. We'll be talking about Amazon's latest foray into animation. We'll be talking about He-Man, and we'll be talking about the Black Widow movie and how much we should look forward to those. But before then, we have to pay our respects to a legend of cinema that regrettably is no longer with us. Pablo, Diego, Mike, what are your feelings on Ricard Donner?
Well, I'll go first. Since I'm, I think I'm the oldest one here. Well, and I remember Superman has a really special place in my heart because I remember it was a tough day because I was so much looking forward to it, and I had how do I explain this? I had my stepdad who was with my mom, and then my other mom who had adopted me, and they both wanted to see Superman and take me on opening day. And the mom who adopted me, we didn't have a lot of money, so she had saved up so we'd have money. And usually, if we went to movies, we never had popcorn or any of that stuff. So, but she had saved up so we'd have popcorn and all this stuff. And it turns out I was under a lot of pressure, and I went with my stepdad, with my other family. And she got so mad and upset and hurt. But in the name of Superman, she got over it pretty quick. And so I got to see Superman opening day twice in the theater. And to celebrate, or to commemorate, I should say, not celebrate, but to celebrate that movie and commemorate the passing of a legend late last night before going to bed, I probably spent about a little over an hour on YouTube, finding scenes and just things like that opening, you know, dun 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 dun. Remember that?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
God, that was amazing. And so, and then of course, I went on my IMDb Pro, read his whole bio. Did not realize he had done so much in Hollywood.
No, like his resume is really, really extensive. Because yeah, of course there is the Superman movies, but he did so much more than just that. I mean, those are just the ones that he is the most known for. But if you go beyond that, The Omen,
Yeah,
Ladyhawke, Lethal Weapon, Scrooged, Radio Flyer, Maverick, Conspiracy Theory, Timeline, which is a movie that absolutely had its moments as well. So he has done so many different things, and also where he like started the franchise. Because yeah, obviously there's Superman, and then there's Superman 2, which we got in 2 versions. So it wasn't until 2006 that we got to see his full vision of the movie, which honestly was better. But also the whole Lethal Weapon franchise, that where he did not just the first one, but all 4 of them.
yes.
And if you include that into the movies that he has also produced, then we get into other classics like The Lost Boys, Free Willy, some of the better Tales from the Crypt movie adaptations, and even the X-Men movies. Because remember, this is the husband of producer Lauren Schuler Donner. So she may have gotten the credit, but he was still there helping out behind the scenes. Not only that, he also did quite a few things on TV. He worked on the original Twilight Zone. He worked on classics like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., the original one, and Gilligan's Island, The Fugitive, the original Wild Wild West.
Yes. The Wild Wild West show has another special place because my grandpa, God, he loved that show, and every Sunday they would replay rerun, and there was going to church, there was going to the flea market. He always wanted to go to the flea market. I don't know why. It was nothing but junk there, but he loved the flea market. So we go to the flea market, listen to mariachi, grab some tacos. Then we had to get back to the house by 3:00, no matter what, because that's when Wild Wild West started. The true Western James Bond. It was great.
Yes, indeed. So this is one of the most prolific filmmakers of our time. And one thing that is, of course, it's sad that he passed. One thing that I will say, though, is that I'm very glad to see that he lived till the ripe age of 91. So we didn't miss out, because he was like working up until the last few years on producing behind the scenes. So we have an extensive list of films. Like, he could have retired 30 years ago. And then there are many things that he produced that we wouldn't have gotten. Who knows what X-Men would have been without his behind the scenes input? We might not have gotten all of the modern day comic book movies. And even for those, his Superman is the one that set the template. I mean, Superman was going to be something of a parody before he came in and kind of like invented and popularized the term verisimilitude, which I can never pronounce correctly. But either way, he's the one that set the whole template for comic book movies.
Right. Guys, what do you think? What are your? Let me ask each of you, and you can do it in English or Spanish. In fact, maybe we should change it up for a minute. But in Spanish, maybe what's each? We'll start with Pablo. What's your favorite Donner work, TV or movie?
Un poco difícil. Definitivamente tendría que ser Superman, pero es por la conexión sentimental que tengo. Ecuador no es que siempre tuvo una cantidad gigantesca de cines y demás, pero yo tuve 2 abuelos, mi bisabuelo y mi abuelo, el papá de mi mamá. Mi bisabuelo era un fanático del cine como no tienen idea, así que siempre íbamos al teatro universitario a ver películas y luego cuando él ya estuvo demasiado viejo para ir al cine, se veían las cosas en VHS, así que de las cosas que recuerdo de mi infancia es la primera película en la que me senté a ver toda la película, sin levantarme, sin ir al baño, sin estar jugando, como son los niños, siempre haciendo alguna tontería, sino sentado viendo la película todo el tiempo, fue Superman. Me aguanté las 3 horas de Superman. Era increíble. Luego mi abuelo me explicaba cómo ponían a las personas en una especie de carrito para hacerlas parecer volar y cómo usaban los diferentes tipos de pantallas, cómo recortaban el film. Y cambió completamente mi perspectiva de lo que podías hacer. A partir de entonces empecé a ver los detalles que había en las películas, viendo en Jurassic Park, tratando de ver si es que lograba ver un poco del metal dentro de los animatronics, alguna cosa. Y era solamente por eso, por esa experiencia de tener algo tan fascinante en escena y tener a mi abuelo explicándome lo que iba pasando, cómo iba funcionando. Es ridículo. Así que mi amor por hacer trajes, mi amor por hacer props, mi amor incluso por usar computadoras para hacer robótica, viene de ahí. Viene de mi amor por el cine, por esa parte de mi vida.
So there's a direct connection between that original Superman movie, Mr. Donner's original Superman movie, and what ultimately became your life's passion and work to an extent. Really?
Yes.
Okay, so let me translate. Diego, help me out. He talks so fast. He said so much, but I want to make sure the crowd gets this because it's very powerful with this.
No, I can translate it.
Okay, well, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the thing. I have 2 grandfathers. One is my great-grandfather and the other one is my grandfather. My great-grandfather used to go to the university, the college cinema, because he loved cinema. So the first time I ever sit to watch a whole movie was with him, was the Superman movie. And he was explaining to me all the small details on how they were doing the movie, how they made ribs fly, how they made the scenes by cutting the film. On that time, there was no computer effects. So it was literally cutting the shapes and pasting them to make a new celluloid. How will you call it? Frame? Celluloid frame.
Yeah.
So my love for computers and for special effects, for the other day I was talking how to make the customs on movies and everything, that comes from the love of that particular experience, being in the cinema, being explained what was going on and how they make the movie.
And it's a passion that you embrace and still, exhibit to this day. Wow, that is amazingly powerful. It's similar to that story, Pablo. It reminds me of why sometimes, like, I have a buddy of mine that I went to Stanford with, and he talks about how when he watched Star Trek, that made him want to get into engineering, and that's amazing. Diego, what about you?
Bueno, primero en español. En mi caso, Donner ha tocado 3 generaciones. Mi abuelo materno con Superman, mi papá con The Omen y a mí con The Goonies. O sea, entonces para mí Donner ha sido una parte integral de mi vida, así, especialmente tanto como productor como también director, porque yo he visto, creo que mayoría de las películas que ha hecho, sea en cualquiera de los 2 roles, pero como por ejemplo X-Men es una que yo ni sabía hasta que falleció y yo vi quién era su esposa y vi los créditos de la esposa y entendí, oh Dios mío, este hombre tocaba mucho más de lo que sabía. Y yo tengo recuerdos así como Pablo tiene con su abuelo. Yo tengo con mi abuelo en su casa sentándonos, viendo en la tele cuando pasaban las películas de Superman. Y es como, era una pequeña tradición nuestra que aparecía si estaba dando Superman, sea en TNT o donde sea. Y la familia, especialmente los nietos, nos sentábamos con mi abuelo y veíamos Superman, porque para nosotros era una experiencia increíble, porque primero no sabíamos cómo hacían nada, y también el hecho de que era superhéroe que escuchábamos a nuestros padres hablar de a veces, y también que es un superhéroe que justo para esa época había la serie animada, ver como que las primeras películas y ver alguna especie de tejido que conecta a los dos, ¿no? Era mucho más poderoso para nosotros la experiencia de verlo con mi abuelo. Después, The Omen es Bueno, es The Omen. Mi padre me traumó con esa película. Así nomás diré. Pero de todas formas, es una experiencia donde pude ver otro lado de Donner, pero para mí lo que siempre va a marcar siempre va a ser The Goonies. Porque esa película la he visto una y otra vez. La he visto en la tele, la he visto en presentaciones en el cine, la he visto en VH, la he visto en DVD, la he visto en Blu-ray. Para mí, Donner siempre ha tenido algún rol y también es todas esas experiencias con todas las películas en general que de ver con mi papá, tanto The Omen como Goonies también. Lo hice ver The Goonies conmigo.
Go ahead. Before you go into a third work of his, go ahead, do it in English now.
Yeah, okay. Well, in English, as I was saying, Donner has touched like 3 generations of my family. My maternal grandfather was the Superman, my father with The Omen, and me with Goonies. And so I was talking about the experience of seeing all his works, you know, as much a director as a producer, having touched so much, and also being the fact that when I grew up in Peru, we were watching, like, there was the anime TV show of Superman, and then they would put the Superman movies on TV, and there was an experience to especially see with my grandfather, that movie that he was so enthralled with, you know, be there with him and have this connective tissue, the animated plus this movie that sort of saw what was bound to it, and it made it more special with me. And also how Donner's made other things like The Omen that my dad and I did have our traditions as well. As Goonies is the one I've seen the most of his, because I love that movie. Till this very day, I love it. When I have kids, I'm going to make them watch it as well with me. It's as simple as that. And that's why Donner's a special person in many people's life. They know it or not, he really did change a lot for us.
So when you then present your children to Donner's work, he will have affected 4 generations of your family.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That's very, very nice and touching. And he will, of course, be missed.
And you know what I love, Andre, is I love that we just put this topic up this morning. There was 0 rehearsal, and the breadth and the depth of this man's work in life has hit all of us. And this is all unrehearsed. We had no idea what any of us were going to say. And Sharon, this is deeply profound. Thank you for bringing this as the first topic of the day, brother. Thanks, Andre.
Yes, no, and also thank you for suggesting it. This is a team effort, and that's also one thing that was actually also very true with Donner's work. It kind of like emphasized the team aspect of everything, especially in Lethal Weapon, how he could bring very different people and therefore also very different audience together, and maybe like open some barriers, make people see in new ways. So yes, here's to one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. With that, though, we have other topics to cover. And next, before we get into what's in the thumbnail, namely the more Wokoso, He-Man, and Black Widow, at least seemingly, we have some other things to talk about. Namely, Amazon is making another foray into animation with Evangelion. Now, this is something that I myself am not too familiar with, but I know others on this panel are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. Go ahead, Diego.
Primero, let's start with the English. Basically, Amazon has announced that they're going to have the premiere of the newest Evangelion movie in their streaming platform that will be Prime. This is very important because for those of us who do see anime and also grew up in the 90s with Evangelion, we know how important this like the series was, and how also mind-breaking it was at the time, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so like having the culmination like happening in Prime, getting exclusivity, Amazon is trying to position itself in a very important place with animation for Prime, especially. Because this is something that most people have waited years for.
Mm-hmm. Let's begin with something simple. Evangelion has been in the middle of controversy since the beginning and is still doing it today. For those doesn't know, the production was heavily gutted because they lost some money. The reception on Japan was not as big as they hoped, but then it came to the West and it became huge, and I mean huge. If you talk about anime, basically the beginning of the anime love in the West was because of Evangelion, a couple other series during the 90s. Before that, you had some VHS going to the US, but it was not as big as people actually trying to go to Japan to get VHS to watch the series or to watch anything. So it became the craze of Japanese animation became basically with this anime in the West. And now Amazon is trying to fetch it, but I have been trying to track if they are I don't know, going for any kind of modification or any kind of censorship. No, they are going for the full movies, and these movies are what the director of the original animation did, because the original animation was so good that he thought it had no meaning at the end. The plot was completely off. There was not a story, so the last couple of episodes don't even have a story, don't even have a script. It's a lot of mixed images with people clapping, literally.
Just to give a context on that the last one, there's actually two versions of the final episodes because of how modern production is. And as Pablo eloquently said, these movies, because they're right now there are four movies that tell the story how he wanted it to progress. The original first movie is actually a retelling of the series, and the next movies are sort of a continuation of how he wanted it to evolve. And we're talking that these movies they were supposedly all around to come, like, what, 7 years ago by this time?
Yep.
About 7 years ago in 2014. 2013, 2014, they were supposed to come out, the four movies, like in not quick succession, but around the time frame. It took us 7 years just to get the final one. That's how much detail, how much work was put into these to try to finish the story as it was intended. And so Amazon has actually read the post correctly, because this movie is maybe one of the most important and expected movies for the West in many years in what is anime. Most people actually tracking it feel that it could actually outbeat things like Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Mugen Train, the one that beat the anime movie that beat most movies in the US just recently.
That will be on the US, Demon Slayer and the Infinite Train.
Yes. That movie that had already beaten most US productions at the time. Most people believe that actually Evangelion, the fourth movie, will come out and will beat that by, we're talking about 2-3 times more. That's what people are calculating because of the fact of Evangelion's impact in anime consumption in general. So it's important that Amazon is trying to position itself in a very interesting place, because most likely what Amazon is going to do after this, if we're reading right the strategy, is they're going to go for more anime. They're either going to produce it or they're going to buy more and try to make the Prime also a place for anime. Try to take that leadership that right now Netflix has on anime and do it for Prime.
I have a question on that note, because you mentioned that what they might do next is start to produce anime themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's going to work? Because remember, just a few weeks ago, Amazon announced their inclusion initiative, which states that like 30% of people behind the scenes have to be female and non-white. And for many anime productions, that's a complete non-issue, apart from maybe the female representation. But if they are going to make something on their own, whether that's something that they do completely in-house or they do it in conjunction with another established studio, then at least on paper, their inclusion initiative is going to have to apply. Do you think that the kind of animation that that audiences have fallen in love with, and which is completely killing it both at the box office, in comic book sales, completely outselling anything American, do you think that can continue if Amazon actually goes into production here?
Okay, I have something about that, and it may not be as hopeful as normal. Let's say the policy on Amazon has been actually being talked on Japan, on the Senate, on the Diet. Why? Because there's a lot of companies, including Tencent and Amazon and Netflix, that Netflix has already been doing animation on Japan, that are trying to push a lot of agenda on Japanese productions. So people like the mangaka that created Hina Tatsuo, Love Hina, has been on the diet talking about how they need to protect Japan from this influence and how they need to take all these people away from the industry. So that's something that is going currently on Japan. After that, there's also the issue that Netflix is currently doing animation on Japan, is doing anime. So this is a market that is already giving revenue. Things like Agretsuko, that is on Netflix, actually generated a lot of attention and made a lot of people subscribe to Netflix, and then they found out that they have Gurren Lagann and they have Evangelion, but without the original ending that is Fly Me to the Moon. Instead, they have a different song. But they have a lot of anime, and they are in the anime market. Even there was a rumor about them buying Crunchyroll for a time and everything. So Amazon is just trying to get into that market, but the Japanese government is trying to make so any production on Japan stays Japanese, or stays at least in a sense logical with what they stand for. And this is not only on animation. This has been going on for a long time, even in video games. And I mean, from the 90s. There's a video game called Airbound that was released on 95. And the original creator, Shigesato Itoi, made a gay character into the game. After that, there was so much push to make the sequel of the game completely gay that he decided scrap a lot of the material and cut ties with the West. So there has been this pressure before, and they don't
and when
like
was
to have
this?
it.
When did that happen?
95, 96, he cut the ties with the West, and the development of Mother 2, Airbound 2, Mother 3 on Japan was delayed to a point that instead of coming to the Nintendo 64, it came to the Game Boy Advance as a completely different game.
Okay, let me go back to the movie. I want to talk about this specifically because I read the deadline. I read a couple articles while you guys were talking.
Yeah, if you have an article that you want to bring up, just bring it up in the private chat.
Let's do this right now. Because here we go. So I'm sending it to you right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go there. That's a deadline article. I'm on my IMDb Pro, so I'm looking at different
just give me 1 second. I'll have it up on screen.
Well, he's bringing it up, and I think maybe, Andre, if you could just read the article, since it's going to be on your screen.
Absolutely. Happy to.
And then what I'm just going to say is this. This is what I found interesting when I heard the news. To me, this is shots fired. Shots fired in a big way. Because this is something that I read 3 different articles, and each one of them has the same language about Amazon is doing this as part of the streaming war with Netflix. So that's shot fire number 1. And then number 2 is that it's doing a worldwide global release on its streaming, on the Amazon Prime Video. Andre, go ahead. I'll let you take over since you got the article up.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
This then is from Deadline Hollywood, published July 1st. Headline reads, Amazon sets global launch for Japanese box office hit Evangelion, 30 plus 101, thrice upon a time. That's a mouthful. And then the story itself reads, Amazon Prime Video has set an exclusive global premiere outside Japan for anime hit Evangelion 3.0. The fourth and final chapter of the Evangelion new theatrical edition will launch in over 240 countries on August 13th. AKA Shin Evangelion. The film has grossed over 9.6 billion yens in Japanese cinemas and been seen by nearly 6.3 million moviegoers since its March debut. To celebrate the finale of the release, Prime Video will also release the 3 previous entries, Evangelion 1.11, Evangelion 2.22, and 3.33. The original TV series first aired in 1995, yada, yada, yada. And then the feature franchise has gone from strength to strength, with the latest, the highest grossing of all movies by Chief Director Hideaki Anno, and the most watched movie in Japanese cinemas in 2021. Also set IMAX records last March. Then moving on, the films are based on the story of Evangelion, an artificial human and multi-purpose humanoid weapon, and the Angels, an unknown life form, and takes place after the Earth has been shattered by a cataclysmic event. And then for the release, it will be subtitled in so and so many languages. I would like to thank the fans for the support. So that is the gist of the story.
Yep.
Sankoku na tenshi no yoni. I
No,
love that
Pablo,
anime.
no.
Admitámoslo, en Latinoamérica todos no sabemos ese intro de memoria.
Todo lo sabemos. Sí. Pero regresando al tema principal y un poco en español
Sí.
para poder actualizarlos. Ya. Lo que estamos hablando es de que Amazon acaba de anunciar que va a ser como en su plataforma de Prime, premier mundial, la película final de la franquicia de Evangelion, que muchos de nosotros los que escuchan en español deben haber visto por el impacto que tuvo esa serie, sea controversial o no, en Latinoamérica. Y también muchas partes también en Brasil, como también en España, por el hecho de ciertas connotaciones bíblicas. Y justo hablábamos del hecho de que este paso que está tomando Amazon es muy importante porque Amazon está buscando posicionarse como la plataforma de streaming de anime y tratar de quitarle el protagonismo a Netflix, que es el actual rey de eso. Pablo.
Ok, este movimiento es interesante, de hecho. Amazon no ha estado tan metido en la producción de animación como ha estado Netflix y como incluso Crunchyroll ha estado por ahí, así que es un nuevo mercado. El hecho de que vayan a empezar con una película que no solamente ya existe, ya tiene un montón de buenas críticas, está por salir a Occidente, pero en Japón ya salió, ya arrasó completamente. Es interesante que quieran entrar a través de este anime. Yo hubiese esperado algo mucho más dentro de la marca de Amazon, pero siendo objetivos, es una excelente idea. Esto es una gran estrategia para Amazon.
Uh-huh. Y no solo eso, toma en cuenta, como dice el artículo que acaba de leer André, es el hecho que van a poner las películas previas. Las primeras 3 películas también van a estar ahí en Prime para que las personas puedan verlas antes de la premiere, manteniendo coherencia, porque para algunos de los que hemos visto Evangelion en su versión original, en sus con los 2 episodios que no tenían mucho sentido, entendemos bien que a veces esta serie puede ser un poco pesada para poder entenderla por el primer golpe.
Let me ask a following question. If you can answer in English, would be great. This is to either one of you guys, maybe Diego, Pablo, doesn't matter who. But there's so much talk with the demise of the U.S. comics book industry. People talking about anime's doing better. I think anime's doing better because the alternative is just awful, which is U.S. comics. But, truth be told is that, at least with these animated properties, the innovation and diversity of that anime brings to the table really has created new fans where other fans didn't exist. So I ask you, from a Latin American, South American perspective, what has been the rise, how rapid or how strong has been the rise of the popularity of anime in your own countries?
Oh,
Instant.
Yeah, in Peru, for example, because it's something that actually somebody did analysis about this. Because Latin America didn't produce content for itself, also like more recently, we were called content importers. So of course, when they brought us things like anime to Latin America and they saw it as cartoons, there's an entire generation that grew up only watching anime and nothing else because that's all what we had to watch as kids. So
because it was
like,
cheap.
Yes. So it was for us. It was like, oh my god! And we're talking about series like Caballero Zodiaco, Saint Seiya. You know, it's bloody, it's manly, and it's bloody. You know, and you wouldn't think, why are they showing this to kids? But that's the kind of sensibility Japan had. That they don't necessarily shy away from it, and that's why Latin America ate it up because it's sort of like the kids felt like they're not hiding it from us. You know, and it's good stories and it works. You know, so it kept us enthralled. We would be like mad, like chomping at the bit, trying to wait till next week to see the next episode and see what happened.
Yes. And around here we had some crazy amount of anime from Mazinger Z or Mazinger Z to Ranma 1/2 to Sailor Moon, Knights of the Zodiac. During years we had Senki, Dragon Ball, Naruto came to the West. There's basically anything that will sell and was cheap to get in Japan, it will come to Latin America, and it will not only come to a country, it will be in every country, and you will have merchandising like crazy everywhere. So it became huge, and I mean ridiculously huge. We have anime stores here in Ecuador. I know there are some on Peru, but the biggest one is in Argentina. And it's like a mall dedicated to that.
And we're not talking about, you know, knockoff Chinese things. We're talking actual things from Japan, you know, and people can get their hands on. That's the kind of market that was born from the 90s. Because most people that are buying this stuff are people around our age or a bit younger than us that grew up with it. So that's why this move. That's why when we saw this article, this move from Amazon was so important because it showed them like they read the post correctly, and they're starting like with a league batter. You know, they're going with the best one from the top, just to try to get the attention.
Ok, el único anime que pudieron haber buscado que sea más grande que esto sería Full Metal Alchemist por la cantidad de gente que adora la parte tal vez moral y sentimental de ese anime. Este anime es un poco más confuso, un poco más distópico, pero de alguna manera, normalmente tú esperarías animes como estos, y corrígeme si estoy mal, Diego, que desaparezcan rápido. Por ejemplo, Ergo Proxy o similares desaparecieron casi instantáneamente, pero este anime en específico se aferró tanto a nuestra cultura que incluso el intro ha sido tocado en situaciones gubernamentales.
También es el hecho de que yo creo que algo que lo ayudó aquí fue por la temática de la serie. Es muy controversial para las sensibilidades cristianas católicas de acá, de Latinoamérica. Entonces, hizo que se mantuviera en la mente de las personas. También esa idea cuando éramos niños que nos decían, no lo veas porque es, ya sabes, maligno, hacía que queríamos verlo más. Y eso creo que ayudó a aferrarlo en la cultura, en la mentalidad.
Totalmente.
Una vez hubo un documento oficial en Perú donde había gente que tiene nombre Shinji como su primer nombre y no son de familias japonesas. Así, ese es el impacto que ha tenido Evangelion. Y también un poco para dar un resumen rápido de la pregunta que nos hizo Mike, nos preguntó cómo fue el impacto de esta serie de anime en Latinoamérica. Y nosotros le respondimos que es así casi instantáneo, porque muchos de los que crecimos en los 90s podemos recordar que lo único que había en la tele en ciertos puntos para ver para niños era anime. No teníamos ninguna otra respuesta en ese momento. Y muchos de nosotros crecimos con Caballero Zodiaco, Sailor Moon, Mazinger Z, también Senki, Dragon Ball, todas esas series han tenido impacto y Evangelion es una de las que más impacto ha tenido para nosotros, creo, porque si tú dices a alguien en Latinoamérica de Evangelion o haces algo en la canción o dices alguna frase típica, mayoría de los casos alguien te va a responder como que o recuerda la serie, te da la respuesta inmediata o te dice la frase completa. Ese es el impacto que tiene en nosotros. Y por eso Amazon creo que está yendo, como dijo Mike antes, está haciendo una declaración muy fuerte. Quiere ser el número 1 en anime y va a tratar con todo.
Bueno, si es que...
let's have an English summary of that before we transition to the next topic.
Just to summarize the main article, as we've been repeating a bit, Amazon has announced global premiere for Evangelion. And as we were talking about in Spanish as well, is the fact that Evangelion has had such an impact in the Western world to the point that like there's an entire generation that they can understand the phrases like Shinji, get into the robot, and they will understand that reference because of the impact Evangelion has had. Evangelion is a gateway for anime, and Evangelion now is going to be like Amazon's sort of gateway into anime as well. Kind of poetic. So it's a very interesting time to see how it plays out for Amazon and how they will continue with this. How they will do the further productions, or they just simply buy anime, or they make more anime. And wait a second. Okay. For a moment, I lost the connection a bit. As I say,
yeah, no, you were here the whole time.
Okay, thank God. Got scared for a second. As I say, so depending on that, we're going to have a wait and see position, see how Amazon tackles their platform, anime, after the premiere. So exciting times, to be honest.
Yeah, really exciting times.
Yes, it will be very exciting to see how that is going to work out, especially with Amazon. But we're not going to leave the topic of anime behind completely, because we're going to transition from there into more Western-style animation. And one of the star examples of that, at least from my growing up, was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Oh no!
And oh yes, and a couple of years back, it was announced that we would be getting a continuation series of sort in Masters of the Universe Revelations. And the way that it was presented initially, it sounded perfect. But very early on, we learned that Teela, by all accounts, was going to end up becoming the focal point of view character, while He-Man himself would be sidestepped a little bit. And now, as the series is getting closer to release, we have some more information coming out, and not all of it great information. Most recent we have heard is some level of what you might call not gender bending that we know of, but we do have some race bending, if nothing else. I'm going to see if I can bring a story up here on screen.
Are we having a Midnight Sage in Espanol Wokoso alert?
Kind of sounds a little bit like that, doesn't it?
Oh, Diego, Pablo, we're moving from Wokoso DEFCON 5 to Wokoso DEFCON 2. Battle stations, battle stations. Action stations, action stations. Wokoso alert, Wokoso alert.
Yes, and here we now get to it. We'll get into exactly who these characters are later. But what we have is, in a fan forum, one of the Netflix people behind the new series. So he's not someone that's affiliated with Mattel or someone directly from Kevin Smith's team, but someone from Netflix. He claimed that King Grayskull and Andra had been race-swapped in Masters of the Universe Revelations, because if they had created brand new characters that were black, well, then they could easily be rejected. That's the summary of the story. Let's get into a little bit more detail. And this story then is from Bounding into Comics, as we can see, and their summary is that in response to a fan who complained about the race swapping of characters in Kevin Smith's upcoming Netflix-produced Masters of the Universe Revelation series, which has thus far seen both Andra, for anyone wondering, that is the black woman that is in between Tila and Orko here.
Wait a minute. That's the same chick in Star Trek Discovery. I've seen her before. That was a joke. That was totally a joke. I didn't.
Yeah, you did. But anyway, well, we don't know how she is going to be, but many suspect that she's not only has Andra, who, to be fair, was a very minor character. She never appeared in the original Filmation animated series, only in the mini-comics. So by having her be black in the series, they're not refuting anything that was in the Filmation series, but they did a race swap. And some have even speculated at some kind of implied sexual tension between her and Tila.
Oh no!
So we shall see how that works. So that's Andra.
Oh man!
What?
But moving on with the story, that's not just her. There's also King Grayskull. Let us see if there's a picture of him here. King Grayskull is someone who appeared. Here's a picture of him in this series, but he is someone that appeared not in the Filmation series, but in the 2002 Mike Young series, which honestly is a fantastic series. And King Grayskull is the direct ancestor of Prince Adam. So they are family. There's a direct lineage. And when He-Man, or when Prince Adam raises his sword and says, "By the power of Grayskull," he is not actually invoking the power of the castle. No, the castle is named after King Grayskull, and it is the power of King Grayskull that is being evoked.
Wait.
King Grayskull, he was a big blonde man, just like He-Man. He looked kind of like him.
What?
Not anymore, though, because now he is... he too has been race swapped to become a black character. And it was then revealed by Netflix director of original series Ted Biaselli that the production team made the decision to alter these two characters out of fear that new characters could be easily rejected. So their mindset was that let's not create any new characters, or let's not use any of the black characters that are already there and bring them into the forefront, because audiences, they might reject that. And just listen to what that implies of what they think about the audience. So instead, they decide it's much better to take two existing characters and re-spend them, because that can't be rejected. Appears to have been their mentality. So I am curious on two things here. The first of them is, what does the He-Man property actually mean to any of you? Did any of you grow up with it? Are any of you excited by this? And regardless of that, does this make you more or less excited? Mike, let us begin with you.
I don't even have the energy. I'm so depressed. I don't even have the energy to empujar el botón de Wokoso Alert 1, DEFCON 1. Oh my God, no. First of all, I'm going to quote the great Jesse Miller, who says, "F him, he's dead. Skeletor lives at Snake Mountain. The Snake people were more powerful than anyone. That guy you're looking at is long since gone." Meaning the Snake Mountain key. I'm without words. It is. What happened to the first trailer?
That was false advertising. I think that the second one probably is more honest representation of what we're going to be getting.
Diego, Pablo, ¿por qué están jodiendo con mis pinches He-Man?
Porque son bien pendejos,
Ya
güey.
me canso de ese pinche mierda, ya me canso de todo lo que está pasando en Hollywood. ¿Por qué me están enojando? For everyone watching at home, this is a Mexican-American SAP alert. I'm now having a Mexican Iron Man rant in Spanish. ¿Por qué me están jodiendo? ¿Por qué están jodiendo todas las cosas de mi vida que son muy importantes, güey?
Pablo lo dijo, porque son pinches pendejos.
Totalmente.
Basically, what I said translated for everybody is why in the beep are they beeping with my beeping properties that I love so much and care about since I was a little tiny beep Mexican kid all the way when I was watching my little shows on my beep and TV when I was a little kid beep that used to make me so happy beep. Why are they making me so beeping angry right now as I'm a grown up? More or less.
Ay, hermano, nada de esto tiene sentido. Para empezar, canónicamente, esta serie ni siquiera debería existir. He estado incluso viendo videos de la persona que estaba haciendo los diseños de los juguetes y estaba haciendo las historias para los cómics que hubo antes de He-Man. La historia continúa diferente. Teela se convierte en la siguiente Sorceress. Tiene un hijo llamado Hiro con He-Man. En la batalla final, Skeletor no gana, Skeletor muere. Así que básicamente Keldor, que es su personaje original, tiene una hija, un hijo con Evelyn, y ese es Skeleton, que es el personaje que va a pelear con Hiro. Pasan un montón de cosas. Además, supuestamente Adam debía ser una copia exacta de Grayskull. Él se debía ver exactamente como su ancestro. No veo que ahora tenga ningún parecido familiar. Hay demasiadas cosas aquí que no tienen sentido. Se están yendo en contra del canon, se están yendo en contra de lo que recordamos, se están yendo en contra de todo. ¿Y para qué? Su excusa es, teníamos miedo de que rechacen nuestros nuevos personajes y hacíamos personajes wokosos. Bueno, hicieron personajes que ya existían, pero los convirtieron en wokosos y ahora están siendo rechazados. Lo que está siendo rechazado no es el hecho de que creen un nuevo personaje, es que lo hagan mal. Es que hagan cualquier personaje que topen, lo están haciendo mal. Están tratando de crear algo que no resuena con nadie. Mientras que He-Man resonó, y yo soy latino, yo soy completamente latino, nací en Latinoamérica, crecí en Latinoamérica. Si es que los wokosos querían hacer algo para representación, déjenlo así. ¿Por qué? Porque yo crecí con He-Man. Para mí He-Man es parte de mi cultura, y el tener un macho man así, súper musculoso, con una espada, eso también es parte de mi cultura ahora, y lo amo, y se acabó.
Okay, now say that again in English, because that was important, what you just said. It was very impactful and meaningful. Please.
Okay, this is the point. They are going against canon, first of all. Supposedly, Adam is an exact copy of Grayskull. Then Keldor, that is Skeletor, had a son with Evelyn that is called Skeleton, and Teela, that becomes the Sorceress, has a son with He-Man that is called Hero. In the final battle between Skeletor and He-Man, Skeletor doesn't win. Skeletor loses and dies. So the rest of the story is his son, Skeleton, versus Hero, the son of He-Man and Teela. After that, what they are doing is they are taking away from something that we already love. I grew up as a Latino here in Latin America, in Ecuador, in a small country, and we loved He-Man, okay? Ya tengo el poder is part of our vocabulary. It's something that people will say when they are, I don't know, getting the bags into the home. They will yell that because they want to have the strength of He-Man, you know? Is part of our culture, is part of what we love. And you are not only changing something that is important for America, it's something that is important for us. And you are taking it away because you want to do something that better represents people. And the reason why you are changing characters is because we will reject the characters that you are, the new characters you will make if they are wokosos, and we are rejecting the old characters because you turn them into wokosos. We don't like that. What we don't tolerate is wokeness. It's not the characters, it's wokeness. You can do new characters better.
Well, first, I'm gonna answer Andre's question, but Pablo already did it a bit. Like for us, like in Latin America, He-Man was also one of those shows that actually we did watch. So it does have a relevance for us. We grew up with it. I mean, there's even a guy who did a parody of it just to show how much of an influence it's had that even has a Latin American parody. And so for us, it's like Pablo already said it as well. He's not excited. Mike has said it. He's not excited. I'm not excited about this. Okay, like for me, as Pablo said, like story ended already. There was already a conclusion. There was no need for this. So now going to make this series, like at first I was like, oh, cool. There's gonna be continuation. Maybe they're gonna do something different, you know. And then when we see the reality of it from the reports, from what they're talking about, the promotional material, and start seeing some things, it's like, it's going to be one of those, isn't it? Kind of situation.
Yes.
And like, for example, like Andra, the race swap, for me, is as minor as the one they did in the Dune series, in the Dune movie, where they even gender swapped from being a father to a mom. I forgot the character's name right now, but Andre knows. You know,
yes,
but that's
of course.
minor.
Yeah, that's a minor thing. It doesn't really change anything
It doesn't
much.
really
It was
change.
Heinz. Heinz in Dune. Yeah.
Yes. That change is a minor one, and it was done more for more. So it does work with dialogue better. So Andrea, for me, I feel it's a must. The King Grayskull one is the one that's like, ay Dios mío, ¿por qué?
Porque son pendejos, güey, son pendejos.
Why oh why? Diego cries out, why oh why? And he and our man Pablo responds, because they're morons and idiots. Hey, I want to turn and ask you, Andre, how important is He-Man to you? Did you watch it? Were you a fan? What do you think of this? I mean, you're the boss. We got to hear what the boss thinks.
There's very few properties out there that are as important to me as He-Man. I think I'll do a separate video about it.
Wait a minute, does this rank up there with Zorro somewhere?
Higher.
Oh no, everyone.
Yeah.
With Conan?
We have got an offend Andre alert of DEFCON 1 for sure. Battle stations. Talk to me, brother.
Yeah.
Tell us. What did it mean to you? Tell us. This is great. I'm dying to hear. Let's go.
The very, very short version of the story is that He-Man is what opened my eyes to the world outside of socialist Norway in the early 1980s. As I was growing up on Norwegian TV, we had like one state channel and the two Swedish state channels. None of them were terribly good, we can put it that way, and children's programming consisted either of homegrown fare, that it wasn't bad, and we had loads of things that were imported from behind the curtain. So I grew up with like puppetry and Polish animation, and all of it had a very, very strong socialist profile. Again, this is stuff that came straight from the Soviet Union that we were reared upon. This is what we knew. This is what we had. The only American thing that we got was Fraggle Rock. Again, because they were good socialists. And then, of course, we also had like some British puppetry. We had Fireman Sam, because he's a good worker. We had Postman Pat, another good worker. And we also had like this factory machine or something, British puppetry thing, also like good workers all around. It was like some social programming going on. You can put it that way. And then, and this is something that the authorities really, really disliked, but one day on cable, we got Sky Channel straight from the UK. And with that, we got English programming. So the people that were older than me, they suddenly got something unheard of, namely music videos and what you would call Western music. Whereas my generation, we suddenly got the cartoons, the American cartoons by way of British TV. We suddenly got Transformers, we suddenly got G.I. Joe. But the one that melted my mind was He-Man. And what that did, not only was it an adventure, but it opened my eyes and it opened my whole point of view that, whoa, there's more out there. This is whole other world. Not just a world that we're seeing into in the TV screen, but the implication is that there's something else out there. And He-Man was like the first thing that made that click for me, that kind of like opened my eyes to there's more going on. And then, of course, it was absolutely instrumental in forming my love for all kind of genre properties that followed, including Zorro, which came later, but He-Man was there first. So yeah, He-Man is something that means a lot to me. They mess up Star Wars. It's sad, but I don't really care because I had no nostalgia for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They mess up Star Trek. This hurts me more, but I can live with it. I didn't become a Star Trek fan until my teens, and I'm kind of like over it by now. But He-Man, they messed that up. That hurts. That's a pain I'm not going to get over anytime soon. So this series, Masters of the Universe Revelation, there is nothing on paper coming anytime soon that I'm anywhere near as excited for as this. And there's nothing that's going to affect me as much if it is as bad as we have reason to fear that it might be. So I just have to hope that even with the changes they have done, it is still going to be a good series. Because if it isn't, it's really going to bum me out. So yeah, that matters to me a great deal.
Sounds like we're all on the same page. And what I started with my rant, Andre, is exactly what you just translated in English, what I basically felt and expressed in Spanish 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I mean, I think I can also put it aside that He-Man has had an impact like for so many years because it was such a very interesting series on its own. Even though it was born to sell toys,
Mm-hmm.
but the story kept people there, and I think also had an influence to what came after it. Because you can see elements of He-Man and everything after it, and everything that came in animation.
This is the thing, Diego. He-Man was different from a lot of the cartoons of that time in one thing. It was made to sell toys, but it was good. The arguments were really, really good. The story was really, really solid. If you check, for instance, Thundercats, the storytelling is way lesser than He-Man's. For example, there's an enemy that they beat using soap. In He-Man, you see them trying to get real magic, trying desperately to fight a Skeletor. So it's a completely different stance in a series. It's not so childish, so kiddie as you will imagine normally.
Yeah, no, there is something to that. And also, a few years ago, when I got the DVD collections of all the episodes, I tried rewatching it. And I have tried rewatching several of the animated series that I used to like when I was a child.
Uh-huh.
And I have found that most of them, like Transformers, like G.I. Joe, like a couple of others, they are honestly best left in your memories.
Yes.
Because you may like the visuals, but the storytelling, as a grown man, something that was designed to appeal to you as a child is not going to be as stimulating right now. Let's just admit that.
Mm-hmm.
But in watching He-Man, something surprising happened because I was expecting, this is going to be just like watching, trying to rewatch Transformers. It's going to be a little bit fun here and there, but mostly it's going to be painful and awkward. And I'm going to ask myself, what am I doing? Here I am, grown man with kids of my own, and professional in banking, and I'm sitting here and I'm watching cartoons made for kids almost 40 years ago. What am I doing? I didn't have that when I was watching He-Man. On the contrary, you could obviously tell that it was made for kids, but the storytelling is more complex. There's more going on. There were many, many times in watching it where I actually found myself intrigued by the story. After watching one episode, it wasn't like, oh my God, what am I doing? It was like, okay, which one do I see next?
Right.
That's a difference between He-Man and most other 80s animation. Most of that stuff is unwatchable today. It really is. But
you know what
what
I remember about He-Man is I remember like wait, say her name. You say her name actually better than I do.
Who, Tila?
No, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Like she says in chat. We used to watch it every day after school. What I remember about that storytelling, I was just having this thought, and you articulated it better than I could have. What I remember is I remember replaying the stories with my action figures, like literally the same exact episodes. I would like redo those. But when I went out to do G.I. Joe or Space 1999 or something like that, it would be like more of a generic kind of battle or story. We'd make up our own stories. But with He-Man, till you just said what you said, I don't think I realized why I did it, but I remember the stories being very compact, and I remember talking with the kids. Okay, which episode we're gonna do? Okay, let's do the one where this happens, and then okay, who's got which action figure? You know, and then we'd say who's got which action figures, and then we'd redo the story that we had seen probably the day before, week before, that week if it was the weekend and we were hanging out. They were good stories, and I do think they still are. I saw them as recently as a couple of years ago, and I still thought they were fun. I still had a blast.
I mean, some episodes, like for instance, the Golden Discs of Knowledge. When I saw that, I was blown away by how good it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy good, man. Ay, Dios mío.
Well, I can't wait to see what Andre does with the Midnight Sage video. If it's that close to you and that dear to your heart, I would put it in my top. It's definitely my top 5 for sure. But I think it's probably maybe 4 out of 5 on the top 5 because I do have a lot of sentimental. I mean, good God, I own 23 lightsabers in my collection, so Star Wars is still pretty. You know.
Yeah, you kicked Paulie's ass, didn't you?
Yeah. I gotta find that Twitter video. Oh wait, I'm gonna find that Twitter video.
It's on YouTube.
You have to upload it right here on Midnight Sage Espanol.
Oh, that would be so classic.
Oh, it's on Paulie's channel, so you can get it.
Can you go find the link? Somebody, Pablo, can you do it?
Sure, man.
All right, go find the link. Throw it in the private chat. Maybe we'll show it before we leave. But Andre, what I was going to ask you is that when you look at what they did with the original versus when they came back in 2000, how was it 2002?
Oh my, yeah, it was 2002. It was that's the best reboot ever.
Yeah, they did a good job, right?
No, they didn't do a good job. They did a better job than anyone could have ever dared to imagine.
Yeah,
because it was so incredibly true to both Filmation and the original mini-comics at the same time.
Yeah.
The whole thing was matured up a little bit. The animation was updated. The signs were a little bit updated, but still incredibly true to the original. They kept all of the same character dynamics, and they looked at all of the storylines and everything that was just like hinted at, but never really elaborated on. And they went and they elaborated on it. And even things that had been made into toys before, but never really explained, like Stinkor, they put in there and they made him amazing. And the best episode of all is the one with the flashback, where we learn what the power of Grayskull in reality is. Not the castle, but the power of King Grayskull. And that flashback right there was completely incredible. That was like the best episode of the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
And now finding out that they ruined that, and the reasoning, now we have too many big blonde white guys. Well, here's like the thing though. Yeah, okay, fine. So there were 2 big blonde white guys, and they're going to get rid of one and replace him with Tila, and they race bent the other one to be black. So that's why you have no big blonde white guys left. So yeah, good going.
there is a huge amount of people, blue people, on that series. There's a whole tribe of people that are blue, including Orko, including Skeletor. They come from the same people. So
Yeah, Gar. I think their name is Gar.
yeah.
Mm.
So this is just craziness. They have literally a different color of people that they can play with, and they choose to change the blonde guy that is supposed to look like the blonde guy.
Yeah, and you know what is even better? What is the thing that that you have there? It was implied in the original, or no, not the original, but in the 2000 series and some of the comics and stuff. And I can't believe that they're not doing it, because it's the best story they have. Skeletor, real name Keldor, is the brother of King Randor. Yes, he is the elder brother, meaning he's in line for the throne. The reason he didn't get it, the reason it skipped to his younger brother, is because he's not a legitimate child. He's basically Jon Snow, because he's the son of King Miro and a Gar mistress, which is why Skeletor is blue, but slightly lighter blue. He's mixed. He's mixed race. And that's why he feels the power of Grayskull, and the whole kingdom belongs to him, because he's the oldest son denied his birthright because his father had an affair out of wedlock. Why are we not seeing that story?
I
have no idea.
Because villains can't have legitimate reasons. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, also the main bad that transformed Keldor into Skeletor is now on She-Ra, and I don't think they are taking him back, so I don't know if... Yeah, I don't know if even the...
Was that in the She-Ra series? Did they do that in the Netflix?
No. The main bad guy from the She-Ra series is the guy that transformed Hordak transformed Keldor into Skeletor by fusing him with Demon. So, okay, this is the story. He gets his face burned. He goes to Sordak. He decides to help him. Actually, he's trying to get free from another dimension, and he fuses Keldor with a demon, and that creates a Skeletor. So that's the main story of the bad guy on He-Man. But the bad guy on She-Ra is the guy that transformed Skeletor into Skeletor. So, and no, they are completely separated franchises. The Netflix She-Ra animation has nothing to do with He-Man whatsoever.
Yeah.
So,
and also, as Jesse Miller at Crow's Nest, our good friend and regular contributor on Midnight's Edge After Dark, points out that there was also the Snake Man. Yeah, they could have gone that way too. That also was barely covered in the Filmation series. That was done much more justice in the 2002 series. I mean, they're the original owners of Snake Mountain. I mean, Skeletor, he's just what do you call those people? Like occupant, the people that just
squatter.
Squatter, yeah. Skeletor is just a squatter in Snake Mountain.
Exactly.
King Hiss is the legitimate owner.
Exactly.
Again, something they did right in the 2002 series. Why did they do it better 20 years ago than Kevin Smith is doing right now in 2021?
Because nowadays they are trying to please the corporate overlords, not the public. Before they were trying to get the public's money, so they were pleasing the public.
I love the whole squatter angle. Makes me think of like what they're trying to do in Hollywood is represent Santa Monica in California right now, where there's a hell of a lot of squatters and homeless people. From when I drove through that town, I own real estate and I owned an office in Santa Monica. I used to do a lot of accounting work for Hollywood type folks, which I got out of that industry and I'll never go back. My business will never work in that industry again. I couldn't stand those people. I couldn't stand the pretentious. I was literally asked to float checks for people. It was just a weird industry. I've never seen anything like that. But man, I just drove through there, saw the homeless people and all the squatters. It's awful out there. It's awful. But maybe He-Man will include diversity for inclusion of squatters now. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing.
Well, be careful with what you wish for, because that very well could happen. That's like that's the thing. When they first decide to go Wokoso, who knows how far they are going to go. I'm going to try see if I can find a picture here of King Hiss, which is something that our good friend Jesse Miller requested. Oh wow! Here's some fan art of King Hiss. Let's see if I can't. Oh no! Here we go. Oh, I found it.
While you're doing that, let me just tell I've got some questions in chat. Hey, we don't have the Midnight's Edge custom emojis because the channel has to get monetized before YouTube lets us do that. And we're not able to do super chats because we're not yet monetized. So if you're watching, you're having a good time, please please subscribe, click the all bell button so then you can know about everything we got going on over this channel. Hey, we're already halfway there. We launched Cinco de Mayo, and now it's what?
Yeah, now we just crossed 500 subscribers, so we're getting there.
We're getting there. See if we can get us over the line, everybody. We'd love to get this monetization done in 90 days or less.
Your help to do it, so we need you to help share the stream, and let everyone know that we're here, because YouTube is not going to do anything to promote or market this channel before it gets monetized. That's just how things work. Before that, and everyone who's starting their own channel, they will know exactly how that is. YouTube doesn't help you until there's something in it for them.
Yep.
So I'm going to found like a picture of something that Kevin Smith really should have done here.
What?
Not just him, but really anyone. Here we go. There, that's He-Man and King Hiss of the Snake Man.
Ooh,
this is something they did in the 2002 series. Again, this is something that was ripped straight from Robert E. Howard. Because remember, officially it was the people at Mattel that came up with He-Man all on their own. And it was just a complete coincidence that they had the toy merchandising rights to Conan the Barbarian, and that to that effect, they got script of the movie as it was in development. They got designs of Thulsa Doom, who looks just like Skeletor. They got designs of Red Sonja, who looks just like Teela. They got the signs of the Snake Man in the Conan movie that looks just like the Snake Man. You will note how even King Hiss, he is someone that looks like a human shape, and then he becomes a snake. Wonder where that from. Was there something like that in that Conan movie, mayhaps? So going, but it doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't matter that it's a complete and total ripoff. The truth of the matter is that He-Man took on a life of his own, and even though he is Conan light in every single way, shape, or form, it's a magnificent story in its own right, and it is one that deserves the absolute best and not be messed with in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. God, look at that artwork, man.
The artist behind here, he also did some of the absolute best Conan artwork around. This is the same guy that did the covers for Conan, or the Savage Sword of Conan, the comics for Marvel. Right. Same guy.
So good. So good.
I forget his name right now, but it's the same guy who did the artwork for the best Conan covers.
I love Jesse's comment in the chat. He's like, seven snakeheads? Come at me, bro. Come at me. Come at me, bro.
So,
Ivan Santos makes a great comment. It hurts that the 2000... I was always baffled by that. The 2002 version didn't get another season to see more of the Snake Man and later on with Hordak. And, dang, I think they maybe they waited a little too long. I don't know. We were so spoiled coming out of the 90s. I think we didn't give properties the attention that they deserved.
Well, actually, it wasn't the audience's fault. It was the people at Cartoon Network. Because some people there at Mattel, they had the mentality that this is going to sell toys, just like back in the 1980s. And that was their measure for success. And they didn't understand that the 80s had ended 12 years earlier, and it was almost 20 years since they had success with He-Man the last time. It was a completely different world. They needed to measure the animation in its own right. And for Cartoon Network, they were doing completely different kind of things. They were doing, like the typical 90s animation. They were doing stuff like Two Stupid Dogs and Dexter's Laboratory, and like this like a Caltech style, beginning this kind of stuff, yeah. And then suddenly there's like this weird sword and sorcery thing that doesn't really fit with anything else, that they can't package with anything else, that none of the people there at the time really got. So let's just get rid of it. And that was their mentality of it. What I will say, though, is that thank freaking God, although they were hoping to go for many more seasons, and they had set storylines up. They were planning on bringing in She-Ra in season 3 and everything. But they knew a couple of months in advance that this is going to be cancelled. So instead of ending the Snake Man storyline open-ended, they were able to conjure up a series finale of sorts. So while it's not the perfect ending, at the very least, it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. So there's that. So you can still enjoy the 2002 series. And my worry is that after seeing He-Man or Master of the Universe Revelations, I may just have to get drunk and have some taco pizza and rewatch the 2002 series.
Wait. It's now a time for a Norwegian taco pizza break for Midnight's Edge and Espanol members.
Yes,
I think now we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, in the tradition of koalas in the rain, in the tradition of, I don't even know what else there is, but we've got
nothing, because who would ever thought that something like taco pizza could exist? This is something that
who thought it could exist in Norway?
In Twitter, but yeah, no, such a thing actually does exist.
I need that on my life.
Here we go.
¿Has oído, has visto, inspecta si estado? Es solo vegetarianos resiste tentado. En Delico hemos tragar el menú. Gracias por mí. Es solo uno Rex en este bio. Hablamos nacho pizza. Hablamos hamburguesas. Hablamos por toda comunidad. Tapas de nacho, para sol, para niños el crispa. Ocho nacho topping, grandiosa nacho pizza. Nacho pizza, hablamos hamburguesas. Hablamos por toda comunidad.
I love this. I love this so much.
There you have it, Norwegian pizza commercials.
No. I need that on my life, man.
Guys, what did you think about the Spanish in it?
It's not that bad, to be honest. I was expecting something more cringy.
At least
many things were like invented in it, because it's actually a parody of Norwegian commercial with Norwegian lyrics, and they know that Norwegians understand some Spanish, so they could like say "hablamos pizza" because that Norwegians will understand. But like, for instance, when they're talking about that there's solo uno Rex and este bio, what they're trying to say is solo una rey and esta ciudad. But that's too complex for Norwegians. Norwegians won't understand rey, and they won't understand ciudad. So they change it for the Latin Rex that Norwegians will understand. And bio is a city in Norwegian.
Oh, no. And I love the three amigos look. That right there is Paulie, Diego, and Pablo right there.
The question
Let's do it one more time before
amigos.
we move on. We need something
to see it again. Bro, one more time. Roll the tape.
Respeto a grandiosa. Has oído, has visto, inspecta si estado. Es solo vegetarianos resiste tentado. En Delico hemos tragar el menú. Gracias por mí. Es solo uno Rex en este bio. Hablamos nacho pizza. Hablamos hamburguesas. Hablamos por toda comunidad. Tabas de nacho, para sol, para niños el crispa. 8 nacho topping, grandiosa nacho pizza. Nacho pizza, hablamos hamburguesa. Hablamos por comida.
I have heard worse Spanish in anime, so I'm not even remotely offended. I love it.
And what is in this pizza in Norway? How popular is it? Or...
Oh, it's super popular. Like it's like the unofficial national dish is pizza grandiosa with all of its varieties. Because you have like the regular one, which is just ham, and then you have like this is the pre-version of it, the nacho pizza. Today you get the taco pizza, and then you of course you have the kebab pizza and the pepperoni pizza and lots of other varieties.
So basically what you're telling I can't hold that together. Basically what you're telling me, brother, is that Midnight's Edge in Espanol, the seeds were planted in Norway long before you invented the channel through Grandiosa.
The seeds were planted in 2012 by Pizza Grandiosa. So yeah, before Midnight's Edge, there was Pizza Grandiosa.
All
That is canon now.
Yeah. I will say is I feel I understand the dude whose pony gets away from him because that's how I feel when Ginger kicks me out of the call.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, get yours now at the virtual Norwegian pizza bar today only, because Midnight's Edge has been hosted by the great Andre. Today only, get your virtual Grandiosa. Not just have you had that? What does it even taste like?
But it's I have to. You know what? When I find my way to the States, I have to find some way to bring some with me, so you can all try it.
No. No. We try.
Actually, that can't be done because I have to like keep it frozen. It's like frozen pizza.
Andre, we trust you.
You have to come to Norway to try it. Yeah. Basically, you have to come to Norway to try Pizza Grandiosa.
Okay, but wait. We rely on Andre and Midnight's Edge and all of the branded channels, Tom and everything, and Polly and the boys and everything. We rely on you to give us our knowledge and information on Hollywood. I think I can trust your analysis of the nacho pizza, bro, without me having to actually go there. I think.
It's delicious for Norwegians.
Well,
I think I think it's a very high chance that if someone not from Norway were to come to Norway to sample the Pizza Grandiosa, they might be a tad disappointed.
Okay, that's like me going. That's like me saying, okay, because I had Mexican food with my buddy Snowdub in Arizona, where we had this amazing table side guacamole. Salsa that they made. I didn't eat the guac; he ate the guac, but I ate the salsa. And then I came to South Carolina, and I found tacos were being served at a gas station, but also with ribs. So I guess what I'll say is the Mexican food, like it's like saying the Mexican food's good for South Carolina, the pizza's good in the nacho pizza in Norway. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I'm lost. Wow.
Also, I have to point this out. Krusty Moko says, betcha Andre would like 7-Eleven pizza. You know, there's a funny thing. We have 7-Eleven in Norway too. And you know what pizza they serve there? I don't know what pizza they serve in 7-Eleven in America. But that's not the same pizza that they serve here. Oh. The 7-Eleven in Norway serve Pizza Grandiosa.
No! Nice!
They had like I'm serious. They had like their own found like some facility to remake whatever they have in America and it cost too much and they didn't sell enough, so they just changed it for Grandiosa. These are the heat Grandiosa and they sell that there.
I can't do in one show. I can't do a rant in Spanish and laugh this hard, Andre. You're killing me, brother. You're killing me.
7-Eleven have different kinds of production. For instance, if you go to Japan, 7-Eleven is actually
Grandiosa.
great.
You can have the regular Grandiosa, you can have the pepperoni Grandiosa, and you can have the taco pizza Grandiosa, and they have them all at 7-Eleven.
Oh no, I meant in the quality. For instance, in Japan, 7-Eleven is great. is top notch, actually. But if you go to other countries on Asia, it's deadly. You will avoid 7-Eleven if you want to leave.
Bro, I smelled at a slice of pizza at my local 7-Eleven, or at a local 7-Eleven when I was driving across the country, and I stopped for gas. Dude, I swear the pizza smelled back at me. Something in there was moving and not fully cooked. You know what I'm saying?
It had a grandiose smile.
No, I don't know. I've never even heard of this brand before last week. Basically, you know what? We need to do some ancient alien Midnight Said Español investigación. Porque es posible que Norwegians
we can actually start with He-Man because that has reptilians.
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh God, no, we're losing it. Okay.
Oh, Pablo, he's killing me right now. Andre, I think Mexicans and Norwegians are long lost nacho cousin brothers.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I also have to say, the South American population we have here in Norway, for the most part, are all awesome and integrate perfectly. So yeah, I should say so.
Krusty Moko says the true heroes of America, they eat sushi from a gas station. That's gross, Krusty Moko. That's why you're called Krusty Moko. That's disgusting.
That's really dangerous.
Have nobody ever seen the Futurama episode?
Yep.
That's why we don't need it because of that.
Cobra Khan, he says, pizza shawarma, anyone? And no, there's no grandiosa shawarma, but there is a grandiosa kebab pizza. So that's close enough, isn't
Grandiosa
it?
kebab?
Yeah. Wait, I'll see if I can find that one for you.
Okay, wait. Well. So Grandiosa kebab. So kebabs have a very special place in my heart because having studied, I went to Oxford State at Milan College, and after a night of beer studying and beer drinking, that's not an English accent, but anyway. So we used to go to this place called Donner Kebabs. They were open to like late night. The trucks, I guess they were the English taco trucks of their time. You know, a Donner kebab, you get a pita and then they cut it off, and you're not sure what kind of meat that is. You know it's meat, but you're not sure.
It's probably not pure meat. I mean, here we have some jokes in Norway about like the kebab shops. Like, if your cat goes missing, don't eat kebab for a few weeks.
Oh, we have jokes about that here, but this is quite different.
Midnight Said Español, providing you with the análisis de la comida, de la cultura de todo el mundo. Cada semana.
Diego, chifas.
Ajá.
Sí, básicamente. I have a story about that. I went to a chifa one day.
No, Pablo.
No. We're not doing a Pablo story. No.
No, so guys, we have one more story to cover.
Yes.
But before we do that, let us just delight everyone with some more Norwegian culinary specialties and cultures mixing.
Kebab pizza. Kebab pizza.
No.
And I thought Japanese commercials were crazy.
No. How do I unsee that?
No. Mike, breathe. Primero. Second, has anybody noticed how many pop culture references were in that commercial alone? When I saw the guys in the truck, all I was thinking was that song. I was like, "What is love?"
Yeah,
that one. You know.
Yeah, we have Roxbury in Norway too. So.
Oh God, that was so much.
Okay, Andre, those commercials work. They actually sell stuff off of that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Mike, think about it like this. What the image you have in your mind right now, how it's stuck to your mind, it gets stuck into people's minds. So at one point they're going to say, I want pizza. Okay, let's buy this in the supermarket. That's how it works. No matter how cringe, it works.
Well, I see people in the chat saying, I need to try that pizza, so evidently it was working.
You see?
David, but to be fair, the taco pizza is a much bigger seller.
Oh, yeah.
Providing the fans of Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge Espanol with the international culinary knowledge and culture that they need from around the world. Yes.
Yeah. All in the mixed with pizza.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, okay, what's our next topic? Another topic?
Yes, we have one more topic. And this topic, then, we don't have an article or anything like that.
Oh, I have it.
There's been so much. There's a new Marvel movie coming out now this week, actually. That movie is called Black Widow. It will be the first Marvel movie released since the beginning of the pandemic. At least the first one that's released in theaters. Prior to it, we have had WandaVision, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki for Disney+. And all three of them did kind of not set the house on fire. They kind of left a lot of people wanting much, much more. So Black Widow will have a lot of making up to do. It really has to knock it out of the park. Instead, we have reviews praising it for its diversity, for its inclusion, for how safe it is, and for how feminist, i.e. misandrist it is, because it's going to have all the white men in the audience squirming in pain. This was used as a selling point for how good the movie is going to be. The same kind of selling point was also used for Wonder Woman 1984 and for Birds of Prey, and they didn't exactly work right there. If anything, they actually do a really bad job at selling the movie. So, how excited are you gentlemen for Wokoso Black Widow?
Solamente diré esto. La película ya se filtró hace unos cuantos días por el preview. Hay una versión con marca de agua. Ni siquiera voy a ver eso. Voy a hay partes de mí que dicen tal vez debería ir al cine para hacer un review, pero después de todo lo que se ha hablado de esta película, ya no me da ganas. Y ese es el problema. Me quitaron el amor por Scarlett Johansson con toda esta cantidad de ridiculeces. ¿Cómo te quitan el amor a Scarlett Johansson? Es casi imposible, pero lo hicieron. Y ahora incluso uno de los actores de Blade está empezando a hablar.
Yeah, we have the story right here. I understood actores de Blade. Yeah, before we move on, that would be Blade star Stephen Dorff says Marvel's Black Widow looks like garbage. Claims he feels embarrassed for Scarlett Johansson. With that, continuar, por favor.
Entonces, es básicamente eso, ¿ok? Y esto he estado viendo, también he estado haciendo preguntas a algunos amigos y demás para tantear un poco cómo está la situación en Latinoamérica y cómo está la situación específicamente en el Ecuador. Había un interés por la película. Hasta hace 2 meses había algo de interés por la película. No se sabía cuándo iba a salir exactamente. Disney parecía que lo iba a tener primero en Disney Plus, luego decían que no iba a estar en Disney Plus, ahora está de nuevo en Disney Plus. Es todo una ridiculez. Pero todavía había un interés por la película. Después de los avances y después del hecho de que se filtró la película y mucha gente alrededor del mundo ya la ha visto y ya ha compartido algunas cosas con respecto a la película, el interés está en cero. Nadie quiere ver esta película. Nadie está interesado en ver esta película. ¿Por qué? Porque se van en contra del resto del MCU. Y acá, al menos en Latinoamérica, el MCU es estúpidamente importante para la gente. Lo aman. Realmente lo aman. Se volvió una sensación. La gente nombró a sus hijos con nombres de personajes de Avengers. Tienen sus carros decorados de Avengers. Tienen sus cuartos decorados con Avengers. Hay bodas temáticas.
Yo voy a poner así. Ahorita creo que no estoy en Perú. Uno de los polos que yo traje es mi polo de Iron Man.
Es que es normal. Si es que
Así
tú
digo.
vas a cualquier centro comercial, a cualquier supermercado, tú ves sobre Avengers estanterías repletas. Antes había cosas similares con Star Wars, pero no tan grande como Avengers. Es mucho más grande que Star Wars ahora. O que Star Wars en cualquier momento fue en Latinoamérica. Avengers es mucho más grande. Pero a la gente le mataron el amor por esto. La mayoría creen que en Endgame se terminó todo. Hay algunos que están viendo las nuevas series. La mayoría de mis amigos dejaron Falcon and the Winter Soldier en el segundo episodio o tercer episodio. WandaVision, no conozco a ningún amigo que realmente haya terminado la serie. Soy el único que se la terminó. Loki ni siquiera le están viendo. La mayoría de personas, a pesar de que Disney Plus es $4 aquí en Latinoamérica, ni siquiera lo están pagando. No les interesa pagar $4 por tener Disney porque están saturados. Les quitaron las ganas de disfrutar algo que amaban.
Sí. Y un poco como haciendo énfasis al sentimiento de Pablo, yo también pienso lo mismo. O sea, tomaré, como dirían, I will take one for the team y veré la película así, ya que estoy acá cuando se estrena y todo. Para tener un review y también verlo como que al menos uno de nosotros ver en cara propia lo que están preparando. Pero de verdad, el hype que había antes ya no está. Las series lo han apagado un montón. Como todo lo que hemos mencionado, las demás series de Disney no han tenido el impacto como querían, no han ayudado de verdad a vender la película de Black Widow. Black Widow más ha vendido por el personaje de Natasha en las películas de Avengers que por cualquier build-up que han estado haciendo. Entonces, yo sí creo que esta película, como dirían en inglés, Dead on Arrival. O sea, saldrá al cine, tendrá mínimo impacto y ya por cómo está saliendo todo, digo, el artículo que tenemos enfrente, o sea, es interesante porque, digamos, un miembro de la primera generación de una película de Marvel como fue la de Blade, lo que está diciendo, ¿no? Es interesante por eso, que esté hablando públicamente.
Y aceptemos una cosa, ¿ok? Blade no era exactamente la mejor película de la historia. Los efectos de la magra al final de toda la película son terribles. Parecen hechos en PlayStation 2, pero es una película de esa época. Es una película hecha en un tiempo donde no había acceso a tantos detalles en efectos. La historia es lo que te mantiene. Entonces, si es que tú ves la película de Blade, es interesante todo el tiempo. Incluso las peleas más ridículas, Blade contra su madre, tienen cosas completamente estúpidas dentro de la película, pero es, ¿cómo decirlo? Mucho más que entretenido verla, te quedas pegado a la pantalla, ¿ok? Y la mayoría de las películas del MCU tienen básicamente la misma función, tú las pones y te olvidas del mundo durante un par de horas.
Sí.
¿Cuál es el problema? Que ahora Marvel está tratando de hacer películas que están destinadas a un mercado muy cerrado dentro de los Estados Unidos, siendo una franquicia que tiene un mayor pegue internacional. Sé que en los Estados Unidos es grande, pero si es que tú comparas la cantidad de ventas que tienen en juguetes, camisetas, jarros y todo, lo comparas a nivel internacional, el nivel internacional aplasta completamente a los Estados Unidos en consumo de productos de Avengers. Lo cual quiere decir que hay un interés gigantesco. ¿Ya? Si es que haces una película que está destinada a un mercado sumamente limitado dentro de los Estados Unidos, el mercado real, que es el mercado internacional, que va a estar pendiente de tu marca, automáticamente lo va a rechazar. Porque la mayoría del planeta no está a favor de la wokosidad. En Latinoamérica no nos aguantamos la wokosidad. En Europa, la mayoría de países, y hablo por gente que he hablado con ellos en España, detestan las cosas que están pasando ahora en Marvel. Entonces, están tratando de hacer algo para un nicho insignificante que además no gasta dinero, mientras están matando a su público y su público estaba desesperado por darles más dinero. Cuando terminó Endgame, la gente quería una película. Ese instante salió Spider-Man. No es una buena película. La gente fue a verla. ¿Por qué? Porque era una continuación de Endgame. Y compraron los juguetes. Hicieron toda la laraca. Y ahora la gente ya no tiene interés.
Mhm.
Okay, I got to stop you there because you covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
And you guys were all over the place a little bit. But getting back to the article, Andre, did you read the article?
Yeah, no, I didn't read it because we had that in the background. But here's like the thing: pointed out that his comments are like really uncalled for, and in a way, I agree. Of course, like this is a movie that comes out like 4 years too late. Really, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, here we have Blade star Stephen Dorff, who is in no way, shape, or form associated with the movie whatsoever. And for him then to declare without having seen the movie that it looks like garbage. And he claims he feels embarrassed on behalf of Scarlett Johansson. I agree. I think that's a little bit like unbecoming. And what you have here is really one actor who Stephen Otten said in the chat here that he has met, and he's a straight shooter, which is code for he doesn't think with before talking, which is kind of what we see right here. And I think that the movie has plenty troubles all on its own. And Blade star Stephen Dorff speaking out isn't really among those problems, but it's a good opportunity for him to get some attention in the spotlight, get some hate from the Wokosos, and at the same time end up looking right when the movie opens and disappoints all.
So I have an opinion. Well, it's kind of similar to what Pablo was getting at. Well, let me throw it this angle. I think this is an actually interesting and good sign, though it's a mean act. As how do I say her name?
You can go full Mexican.
No, I'll do it with the grito. So it's a mean act that he did, actor to actor. But let's step out of this for a second. Here and this is on the eve of yesterday's show where on the Latino Slant I hosted Eduardo Fajardo, the consequentialist, who was very outspoken as an entertainer and talked about the cancel culture and the wokeness of the scripts. And remember last week we had Tarantino, which you covered, Andre, in an excellent manner on Midnight Sedge channels last week. But I think what we're starting to see here, ladies and gentlemen, if you can pull this out of the fact that this is probably a mean thing, it comes out of, a weird place. We finally are now starting to have entertainers themselves, whether they're directors, musicians, or even an actor, starting to say this shit is too much. Where's the real
that is significant. That is significant.
This is a significant week, and mark my words, folks. It started, and it's actually also connected to break. There's a breaking of the dam, and it actually started with a comment Andre made about a very different topic, which has to do with Indiana Jones and them trying to cover, hide, or at least let's just say they're handling the Indiana Jones, whatever happened to him, almost like UFO disclosure, like. We have to get like second and third hand reports. They just didn't come out and say, hey, here's the official word from the studio with the thing, and medical doctor so-and-so says this, which I've seen before in Hollywood. We're starting to see a crack, and this crack is good for us. Now, it may be mean that he's, making this comment, but as Stephen Otten said, he said he met him one time. Stephen says that he's a straight shooter kind of guy. This is a guy that says, I don't give a flying frack. Tarantino just did that. He also did it not only on Bill Maher's show, he did it on Joe Rogan's podcast as well.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things around. Of course, it shrunk a little bit after the ill-advised move to Spotify, but even so, people trust Joe Rogan.
Exactly, Joe Rogan is more trusted.
He is the modern-day equivalent of Walter Cronkite, I would dare to say, because the establishment journalist. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to say too much about it, but I will say that they have lost a lot of esteem and respect by the public at large, and rightfully so.
I asked yesterday's show, everybody, if you haven't seen yesterday's Latino Slant show, where I interviewed Eduardo, one of the things he talked about that there's a lot of people, more than you would think, that agree with him in the music industry, but don't say anything because of wokeness and cancel culture. Well, I think this is the same thing. This guy just doesn't give a flying F.
Oh, I guarantee it's the same in Hollywood. Like, we know, we have people that.
So these are good signs. These are good signs that people are calling shit out.
Yeah, I want to ask a question just about that. This is, sorry if this sounds horrible to say, but this is a lesser known actor. This is a lesser tier actor, right?
Claro que
But
sí, definitivamente.
yeah, he feels comfortable speaking out against woke productions, directly against a Disney woke production. So my question is this: is there a change in Hollywood big enough for people that are in a lesser tier to feel comfortable going against the big narrative from Disney?
I don't know that he feels comfortable, but someone has to be first.
Yes.
And the beauty is that the people that are going to be the ones to be the first to speak out are the ones that have very little to lose to begin with, because they're going to be persona non grata after such a comment. They're not going to get any jobs or anything like that, maybe at the Daily Wire, but they're not going to get anything in mainstream Hollywood. Well, Stephen Dorff wasn't getting that right now anyway. So in that sense, he had very little to lose. So he's in a position where he can be one of those that helps break the dam. And there has to be plenty people to do that before someone that actually has something to lose will be willing to speak up. No one that has anything to lose are going to do that before so many others have paved the way that there's not the same amount of consequence anymore.
Well,
And
I
I'm gonna
guess
go-
Tarantino started that.
¿Cómo?
Tarantino started that. He went directly against wokeness.
Let me throw one
No,
other thing
there's
too.
others that have done it before. But
Others
he's
have,
the
others have
biggest.
done it before, but well, I don't want to get into that debate. Let me just say this. Here's another thing. Is this guy black? Is he Mexican? No. Is he Asian? No.
Mhm.
At some point, the white dudes in this country are going to get sick and tired of being beat up on, because I know my brothers are. My white brothers definitely are getting tired of being beat on, and that's why a lot of times I tell them, I say, hey, you know what? You don't feel comfortable, take a stand, Mexican Iron Man, I'll go on screen. I'll take a freaking stand from my, from my white buddies who have done good things in good places and stuff. And I think this guy too is also looking at like, oh my gosh, this isn't even a, whatever it is, there's got to be an element to that too. So I think some of it might be stuff he might be experiencing as a white dude. I think some of it might be stuff that he's seen in his industry. And when he sees it, he's kind of call it out. And if a guy like this can call it out, and he can have this kind of, courage, because he knows it's going to get covered. He knew what he was doing when he did it.
Yes.
Others are coming and others are on the way. And by the way, Eduardo Fajardo suggested the same thing too in the music industry as well. So I hope, Andre, that, we're starting to see the cracks in the dam, and we finally drown out these Wokosos that have tried to drown us out and taken all of the things from us that they've tried to take.
Indeed. And I also have to say that I object to the term woke, because they're not woke. The people that we refer to as woke, in reality, they're asleep. They're living in a dream world.
Yeah.
Mhm. In a fantasy.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Zombies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
pretty much.
you think about what they have been trying to do, they have accomplished nothing really. After
Oh my God, I
this,
just thought of a great idea. Midnight Engine Espanol Studios produces Apocalipto, Zombie Invasion. Wokoso Zombie Invasion.
That being
No
said,
bad.
one of my favorite movies is actually the real Apocalipto.
Me too. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's so good. But anyway, yeah, that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there.
Well-
But yeah, and to start rounding out here. So for Black Widow, I agree. Like, the movie is Wokoso. We have heard review. I have not seen it. Tom has not seen it, but we know someone who has seen it, and that someone has spoiled the entire movie for us. And there's no question. There is no if. There is no but. It's Wokoso Deluxe. It
no.
absolutely is. Yes.
oh no.
Yeah.
How did I miss that on Midnight Edge? Who did that?
No. This was done behind the scenes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, so
But
it's in Reddit or something?
we did repeat that we know someone that have seen it and have spilled the beans to us. So
Oh.
of course we have given very, very few details. So I'm not going to do that here. What I will say is that it's complete Wokoso and it leads to nothing.
is it coming out this weekend or is it next weekend? Next weekend.
July
this
9.
weekend.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Oh. Well,
So
I don't plan on seeing it. I'm gonna
yeah,
wait.
I was about to say, like, oh yeah, now I know what to not to go see this weekend.
No.
Yeah.
No, I may break out my old He-Man collection though. My old DVDs.
I may have to not see it on opening weekend, but I will at the end before I leave see it just to see the horror of it, and maybe give a review.
Well, it may be mildly entertaining, but many of the things that we are hoping are not in it are in it. And I see that, let's see here, it was Carolina Ramos Fabian says, it actually sounds good. If you are referring to Black Widow, I hope you will like it. I hope that as many as people as possible will like it. But based on what I have heard, I will temper my expectations, but that is me.
I don't know. I'm gonna flip a coin. Maybe I'm just afraid it'll lead to another Mexican Iron Man Español rant video. You know, a rant session on Midnight Edge Español. You know what I mean? We got enough of those. We don't need another Mexican Iron Man rant. Set conditions.
There's a time and a place for everything, but now we're about to round out, so we can maybe save it for next time.
Yeah, save it for another day. Anyway, well, are we done? Thanks, everybody. Should we thank everybody then? We got some more stuff to cover.
With that, I think we have covered what there is to cover of both Black Widow, of He-Man, what we can so far, of Evangelion, and of course of the great filmmaker Ricard Donner, who is no longer with us. So with that, I would like to say thank you to the regular team here of Diego, Pablo, and Mike for being welcoming of me. And speaking maybe a little bit more English than usual. Of course, we try to keep it bilingual at any rate. But thanks for having me. And
having you, brother. You created the whole concept and the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's like someone asking, "Hey, George Lucas, thanks for coming by." Wait, what?
And also, thanks to everyone watching. So yeah, please hit like, please help share. The only way the channel is going to grow to the point where YouTube actually starts recommending it and showing it to the hordes of Spanish-speaking audiences that are looking for something like this and don't know it exists, is actually to become monetized, because that's when YouTube starts caring. So yeah, to help us get there, watch the videos, watch the Mask of Zorro movie, watch the live watch party if you haven't, and and be back again on Thursday for another live show.
And our man Polly will be back. The great Polly will be here along with the gentlemen Diego and Pablo. So yeah, come back on Thursday, everybody.
Yes, indeed. So Diego and Pablo, where can people find you before we round out?
Me pueden encontrar a mí en Twitter con el nombre raro que ponen siempre, o también en Midnight Edge en español, los martes y los jueves con el live stream, y a veces en algún episodio especial de nuestro estimado Polly en su canal de Latino Slam, que hace un show los miércoles. Pablo.
Bueno, yo tengo el canal Geektripology en inglés. En español estoy tratando de revivir el canal Randomeando. Y ¿qué más se puede decir? Grayskull, dame paciencia porque si me das poder me los parto, pero así es la vida.
And Mike, where can people find you?
Well, wherever you send me, but here Tuesdays and Thursdays, and tonight we have Midnight's Edge After Dark. Jesse's in the chat. Tom will be hosting that about 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central is usually the start time. So we'll see everybody there later tonight. And then don't forget, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, high noon East Coast time, 9 a.m. Pacific is Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge Español at the same times on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes, exactly. And today we've had a very food-oriented show detailing both Grandiosa taco pizza and Grandiosa kebab pizza, which some people were traumatized by. So to watch all of that away, let's then round out, instead of with koalas in the rain, with a look back at the real, original Norwegian pizza Grandiosa.
Oh, no. Oh, yes.
And I will always miss loving you. Bittersweet memories, that is all I'm taking with me.